Hello, gorgeous Cancer family, and welcome to August 2020. I hope all of Cancer season treated you very well this year. I know it was a powerful one for me and many others. I think it was a very powerful transformational time. A lot was coming up at that time, and it continues as we move through Leo season here in August, through your second house, through your neighboring sign of Leo. And this August has a very distinct flavor to it for everybody. It is so focused and so it's got that fiery clarity to it, and that playfulness and that desire for learning and that desire for creativity and that desire for clarity. And because we're out of eclipse season, we're out of all the close planet retrogrades, other than Mars, who's slowing down this month. August is kind of a special moment to just be with our path and kind of see it with a little bit of crystal clarity. The message that came through for me when I tapped into Cancerian energy was this. This is a time of love, of self-love, of connection, sacred devotion, and understanding of your value. All of these themes are coming up, and I love that. You know, the juicy goodness of feeling that devotion to your thoughts that are nurturing to you, feeling that devotion to, you know, the tender connections you have in your life and feeding those and nurturing those and growing those. That's such a strong theme for you here this month during all of this very crystal clear energy coming through. So let's talk about what planets are doing what and how that's going to be affecting you and how to work with that while I shuffle the cards. So there's always a really powerful full moon during this time, which is that full moon in Aquarius on August 3rd. Now, the full moon for you is in your 8th house. Aquarius is that house of transformation for you all. And this full moon in Aquarius wants us to explore new ways of doing things, wants to revolutionize everything. We're going to be working a lot more with Aquarius energy, especially next year, but it's an important piece of the puzzle of how we're going to move forward in life. So this for you is all about changing shape, transformation, shedding a skin and opening up to a new version of yourself. So that full moon can be quite revelatory and transformational for you and quite powerful. We also have Mercury moving through Leo, your neighboring sign. So the Sun and Mercury moving through Leo a lot of August. And the second house energy of love and self-love and what you value and how you value yourself and do you feel worthy? These are questions that you can just work with and play with and nurture into existence with creativity, with childlike joy. So a reminder is always here for you this month, no matter what other themes are going on in the collective. Remind yourself of that childlike joy of nurturing and self-value. Queen of Cups, that's so perfect for you all. I love it. I love that so much. Yes, Uranus will be going retrograde as well this month. So now I think all the outer planets at this point are retrograde. They're all introspective. So we're doing some just integration of everything we've learned the earlier part of 2020. We have a new moon in Leo on August 18th, 19th. More of that second house energy. And then we move into Virgo season. Temperance. Ooh, I'm loving the magic I'm seeing in the cards for you all today. These are really good harmonizing, balancing cards. Then we get into Virgo season, and this is so much about this beautiful thing right here, our voice, our communication, our short-term planning, how we just show up to that interconnectivity of life, right? And this is an important, Virgo season for you helps you to kind of refine that process and connect more in. Two of Wands, one of my favorites. Oh, and one other thing this month, Venus is moving through your sign starting on August 7th. And personally, I have a Venus in Cancer. I was born with a Venus in Cancer on my natal chart. I love Venus in Cancer. One of my favorite energies. And we're all going to benefit from that. For you, that's that self-love, right? It's that abundance, that connection, that feeling of well-being. This is important for you this month, regardless of anything else going on in the world. Seven of Cups. one of my favorite modalities for learning and seeing the way forward. Seven of Cups is very useful, a little tricky to work with, but we'll talk about that when we get there. And the Moon. All right, so I will say this with what I'm seeing here in your cards. These are beautiful cards. There's a lot to do with healing. There's a lot to do with knowing. There's a lot to do with trusting your spiritual well-being and knowing. And trusting in your watery, intuitive guidance, right? Not so much in the intellectual, constantly overanalyzing, which as the sun moves into Virgo, we have a little bit more of that vibe. You know, that analytical part of ourselves doesn't always give us the best directions. And this month, you've got 3 powerful water cards and 2 powerful fire cards. So we start right off with Queen of Cups. Now, once again, all of this, Venus moving through your sign, all the energy moving through Leo, your second house of abundance and self-worth and self-love and what you love and value, all of that is going to be leading you back to, when I think of Queen of Cups, I think about how much she just loves just being present in the listening, in the paying attention, in the ooey gooey goodness of feeling it all, right? And she's also got that self-trust. She's got complete self-trust. And she's a little bit surrendered to that bigger part of ourselves, that flow of life, right? And so this is just a reminder that this is where you're going to get your best information. Right now, it's very easy to get pulled into a lot of other people's mental flows, problem-solving flows, problem-seeking flows, worldviews, right? It's very easy to just get pulled over to the side of whatever, looking at the internet, or if somebody comes home stressed. And Queen of Cups is that reminder that that's not where you're going to get your best information. So always come back to her because she's leading you somewhere important. Queen of Cups is also telling me a lot about relationships and connectivity, and that you have a lot of energy going on there with the really connective, close relationships in your life. Now, the Queen of Cups is also having us listen to something because you're getting a call. And I think this is kind of more of the long-range visioning kind of call. But you're getting a call with the Temperance and 2 of Wands cards. Here's this fiery energy. It's very inventive energy. And this is the kind of energy that we get when we're asked to zoom out and look at the bigger process we are working with, right? So it's not always about the nitty-gritty details of what we're doing today and this week, and am I doing enough, and am I problem solving hard enough, and am I aware enough, and am I being conscientious enough, right? This is that part of ourselves we tap into, knowing that there's a much longer, bigger process, that when we kind of acknowledge that that's going on, we can see our way forward in the present a little more easily. Temperance and 2 of Wands are that idea. It's a boomerang feel. You know that there's something that's within you, a big adventure, a big expansion, a big connection to your next phase of life that you can feel coming through. And it's that feeling like, okay, maybe it's not here right this second, but I am getting asked to open up to it. I am getting asked to look at it. I am getting asked to trust in it a little bit more. And you may even feel this month a little bit like you're tapped into another time and place that you can feel is present here with you in the now. And yet in many ways you look around and it's not here literally with you now, and yet it is, if that is making sense to you. These energies are very good for daydreaming, for allowing yourself to open your heart to what is next. This has to do with that self-worth as well. These are very good energies for wishing and for prayer and for connecting with that. These are also about harmonizing yourself as well and finding balance, especially with Temperance, right? So if you feel like you're going to extremes somewhere in your life, even in meditation or even in your Queen of Cups modality, you may find that you want to just temper that, find ways to find greater balance between the social part of yourself and the internal part of yourself, or the impatient part of yourself and the very spiritual part of yourself. But there is this opening up to something bigger going on here. And it feels to me like you've been walking through a forest forest is nice, you like the forest, you enjoy it, but you didn't know that you get to a clearing and suddenly you're in this big open thing, like if you were in the redwoods and you reach the ocean. And some of those paths in the redwoods are so amazing for that, because you're walking through these ancient trees and then suddenly you get to the coastline and you walk down this little mysterious path and you're at the ocean. You didn't even know you were going toward the ocean. It's kind of like that. It's kind of like you've been in this big, beautiful forest. And suddenly you open up and here's this huge vista of opportunity. And your choice is to, tap into that and let it come in, or to kind of shut down. You're definitely being asked to remain open. Now, once we come back to your intuitive guidance system as the way to know what's going on the best. 7 of Cups and the Moon. Now, I will admit, these two together, this can sometimes be associated with getting a little turned around, a little discombobulated, up in our thoughts and our emotions in the spiritual realm, just kind of not being able to tell what's true, kind of feeling like everything's relative, or what is reality, right? If we stay too long in this modality. Yes, that can happen. But these are 2 of my favorite modalities to get things done. And honestly, for you Cancerians, I trust that you know what I'm talking about here, because I know you know. And the moon is your card, so I'm not worried. However, okay, the trick to working with these energies, if this is how you're getting your best information about this opening up, about these opportunities, about this fiery creativity that comes with Temperance and 2 of Wands, it's to remember that whatever thing that you're wanting to pick up or go toward, how does it feel? How does it resonate, right? And not to get lost in any of the other voices that have either been given to us since we were young, or given to us culturally, or are surrounding us right now with everything going on. It's to keep listening to the one that feels kind and loving and true, right? That's the one you pick up. You don't actually have to spend as long up here as sometimes I think we need to. Sometimes I think we need to do 20 hours of spiritual homework a week in order to be able to access the best information about who we are becoming and where we are going next. We think we need to, overhaul our lives and go out into the mountains or do something like that. And sometimes that is a beautiful thing. However, our deep wisdom is actually quite powerful and often has the answer right there for you. It's just that we often don't want that part of ourselves that wants to analyze and find the complexities of it, doesn't always just want to hear that one short sentence answer. Doesn't always want to hear the clear, crisp dialogue. And that's when we stay up there and then we start rummaging around looking for a more complex answer. The thing with all 5 of these cards today is that they're very simple wisdom. And that's the message that's coming through. Now, I would also like to say with these cards, there's this theme of love and connection. And while none of the cards themselves are about like romance or weddings or, those kinds of things, innately in this energy here, this is about those aspects of life that feel really supportive to you. So creativity, love, connection, bonding, sensitivity, and all those beautiful parts of life that aren't about just the cover story and how we look to the rest of the world are coming up here. So this to me is a very intimate month. It's an intimate month with yourself. It's also an intimate month with anybody who's close to you. And it's an intimate month in figuring out what mythology you're wanting to follow as we move forward here, because once again, August is very clear. There's a lot of answers coming in. Now for you, you're working with Queen of Cups, 7 of Cups, and the Moon, which some people would say that these are the least clear cards you can get because they're so watery. And I would disagree with that deeply, because this is the thing where you already know exactly what it is that these things are bringing to you. And your job this month is just to hear it and to follow it and to work with it and to make it easy for yourself by doing just that. I also find that there's a lot of support here for you, just trusting in this big, bold, different version of you that's coming out. It may feel a little strange to be opening up, standing at this Two of Wands doorway, walking through it, knowing that so many of the pieces of the puzzle aren't with you literally right this second, and yet you're walking through the doorway and you are this next person. How do you work with that, right? So this is just a powerful time of that kind of dialogue going on. I'm really excited for you all this month. I think it's going to be a beautiful, powerful, connective, psychic month. You're going to have a lot of that support from that aspect of yourself. So I love that for you all. And you can find me over on Patreon, where we are doing so much more deep diving on all of this, including this big Mars retrograde that is looming for the coming months. It's going to be a big part of the dialogue for the rest of 2020. We are doing a deep dive on Mars, on healing inner masculine, on how to work with Mars, how to work with Chiron, how to work with Lilith, all of those energies. We do weekly astrology forecasts. For those of you who are already with me, you know that we have such an amazing community over there. Thank you to those of you who are with me. Our conversations, and it's just a beautiful space. So I would love to see you there. You can like and subscribe this. That really helps me out, and I would love to see you here again. And of course, you can find me on my Instagram, Sarah Verba, or on my website, sarahverba.com. And you can find PinkLune's gorgeous jewelry on her Etsy shop. She's always got something new in store. I love you Cancerians so much. You know I do. You are an important part of my life, an essential part of my life. I love you so much. Have a beautiful August, and I will talk to you for more moon magics and September ahead.